What is up, everyone? My name is Azrael, and I'm here with a special video for you guys today. My car, my 1994 Mercury Sable, is turning 30 years old on March 18th, so around 10 days away. So what I thought I'd do to treat this car is have you guys vote on how to spend $500 on various upgrades so that this thing could really get looking very special. So because the car's turning 30, I've written down 30 different modifications that I'm interested and willing to spend money on. And it's gonna be up to you guys to decide exactly how I spend my $500. The way it's gonna work is I'm gonna go through each of the 30 modifications. And at the end, after you've seen what all 30 modifications are, you guys need to go write either in the comments or on my Instagram and vote for which modifications you want me to do. Whatever combination of modifications gets the most votes will be what I spend my next $500 on, probably as soon as tomorrow. So let's get right into it. We're gonna start with number 30, which is going to be the cheapest modification at a whopping $10. Right here, you can see my door locks are all busted and cracked, and not even this one doesn't have the same shape as that one. So I was thinking, why not, for $10, add metal door lock caps to all 4 of my locks, just to spruce up the interior a tiny bit. And I think it'd go well with my rear view mirror as well, once I get that back on. Number 29 is basically a simple stop at my LED guy's shop for some simple lights here. I want to get the license plate lights turned to LED and the interior lights as well. That would really make it so that I'm fully LED across the board. Nothing left on my car is amber. And that would probably cost me about 50 bucks. It also would help because this light is burnt out and this light is burnt out. So I could, while I'm there, also get all of that stuff fixed because he gave me a lifetime warranty. Now, if you guys are more interested in this car lasting a long time and being healthy, then there's gonna be a few repair options for you. So for one, my battery the light almost always turns on when accelerating. I've tightened the terminals as tight as possible, and I don't think it's a problem with the terminal. I think there's a dead spot somewhere in my lines there. So for 50 bucks, I have a friend who will come over and look at it, and if it's easy to do, he'll fix it as well. Keeping with the interior, you can see here, normal door panel, right? Well, over here, not so normal. All of my other door panels are extremely loose. So I've been quoted for about $50 a pop. We can get each of these taken off, screwed back in tightly, and fixed. This is going to be a very convenient quality of life thing for my passengers because closing this door is rather hard because usually you just pull on this, but when you do that, you're more likely to rip the freaking door panel off than you are to actually get the door closed. So that would be quite nice. Now, this is something I didn't know I needed, but now I know I need it. One of my car spotter friends told me that he thinks my light bar would look really cool with clear side markers. And, you know, I kind of thought about it and I'm like, you know, maybe he has a point, because then once this is illuminated, everything would be white. We would have no more orange or amber anywhere on the light bar. I kind of looked at ways that you could DIY turn this stuff clear, but obviously that's not an option because it's yellow. It's orange plastic, not like an orange film over plastic. So I just looked up Taurus SHO clear side markers because I know the Taurus shares the same headlights from here to here, and by some miracle it actually exists. So for about $70 I could swap these out for some clear side markers and have a full white light bar, which I think would really look great and just be a cherry on top little modification. So the next modification is this little LED strip here. Now I couldn't quite catch it, but when I turn it on, it kind of goes like this across the whole headlight. But the problem is these are not at all the ones I wanted. The ones I wanted would point inwards towards the headlight bulb. So rather than having just this strip underneath kind of glowing and illuminating, it would instead illuminate the entire bar. So when I would turn on the headlights, we'd kind of have my entire bar kind of dancing back and forth. Now, I'd assume this is going to be about the same price as the ones I bought, which is about $70. So yeah, I wasted 70 bucks, which sucks, but I mean, these don't look terrible. It's just not the look I wanted, and I do think it's a little tacky. Yeah, and it hangs out here, which is freaking annoying. But I think getting the right ones would really look great, especially because I could like flash it when people are turning their heads looking at the car, and they could see the whole light bar illuminate. I think that'd be a really cool look. And yeah, I mean, then I could finally get rid of these dinky failed ones and get what I actually want. Number 24 would just be simply getting the last wheel and the 2 more hubcaps that I need. As you guys have seen in my last video, I got some spare wheels and hubcaps off of a parts car, but they only had 3 wheels and they only had 2 hubcaps. So for about $100, I could buy the rest of what I need, and then I could finally have a designated winter set and then a designated summer set, which I plan on getting chrome plated sometime later this year or maybe next year. That would really set it off, especially with some low profile, low rider tires. I think chrome plated would look really great, but I can't do that until I have 2 full sets, because I do not want to run my chrome plated wheels through the salty winter streets. Number 23, custom Sable and Mercury badges on the rear. So as you can see in my glove box, there is a unique font right here on the dashboard that I really like. And I think I could genuinely get someone, a company, and I know these companies exist, to 3D print me new Sable and Mercury badges. I'd have to measure everything out, you know, make everything work, and I think I could get them to do it with that really cool stripy font. And I think that would really be just like a nice little touch, especially once I get these tail lights striped up too, which will be a later thing that we talk about. I think it will just really help set it off in that kind of sci-fi 90s futurism way. Number 22 is another quality of life improvement: repairing this lock. As you can see, no matter what I do, it does not change or tilt or move this at all. So for about $100, I would love to get this fixed. I would love to get this fixed because I'm so desensitized and used to opening cars up by the passenger side that I even do it in cars that have working driver's side locks. So yeah, that would be quite useful and not as awkward as me trying to climb in through the passenger seats when it's super cold and I don't want to walk around to open the door. Next is just a tiny bit of a, ooh, that's nice, style of upgrade, and that would be to get glowing lights behind this Sable cutout here. So if you can see, you can't really tell during the day, but when the glove box is open, there is a light underneath that illuminates the glove box, and I would like to find a way to make it so that whenever I start the car, the light constantly glows, which will illuminate this logo. And I would like to get it in a light that matches with the digital green of all the other lights in the car. So this kind of 90s Ford teal, I would like to get that color here, constantly illuminating and glowing when I have my car on. Maybe I could even attach it to my headlights, so that when my headlights are on, this glows. Not really a huge thing, but just a little extra pizzazz in the interior. And I think I could get this done for around $100. Number 20, I've been quoted $110 to find all the leaks. I've been told there's a lot of leaks in this engine. So let's figure those out before they end up biting me in the butt. I can tell there's a lot of wetness here. There's some wetness here. But other than that, I can't tell where else it is leaking. So we'd have to get the thing up on a lift and fully inspect it and see where we can go from there. This could really help my car last a lot longer, but it's also kind of a boring thing and something I should probably do anyways, irrespective of its 30th birthday. So yeah, if you guys are more focused on repairs than upgrades, this is something good you should vote for. Number 19, inner plastic headlight sanding. So as you guys can see, on the outside, my headlights are very smooth. They are very nice and clear. But on the inside, they're still clearly yellowy. At night, it doesn't matter because the headlights are so bright that it doesn't show at all. But I would really like to take these headlights back to the detailer I took it to a couple years ago at this point, and have them take this off, you know, take apart the glass, and then sand the inner portion of the headlights for about $120. He said he'd do that, and that would really make these absolutely crystal clear, because it is next to impossible to find these in perfect condition anymore. And I think hopefully he could also reseal them better so they don't continue getting water in them, which would just make them yellow even faster. Number 18 for $180 would be fixing this godforsaken power steering pump. You guys hear the car right now? All of that noise is power steering pump whine. Listen to this. That you constantly hear it whirring, and for Christ's sake, when I actually turn, it sounds like a whale. It is so embarrassing and it sounds terrible. I would be more than willing to get this replaced, because I've already freaking replaced it before, and get it done right this time. I don't know, maybe I'll take it to a shop or something, but dude, this power steering whine is so annoying. It is all you hear. My neighbors hear this car's turning into the street before they see it. It is so embarrassing. And it's something Ford from this era is notorious for, and I hate it. I've already tried replacing it before because it really is just so goofy sounding. I'd be willing, if they even exist, I'd be willing to upgrade it. I'll get the best power steering pump this world could offer me. I really can't deal with this obnoxious groaning anymore. The only thing I could do instead of replace this would be drown out the sound with something else, but we'll get to that one later. Number 17 would be finally ditching the stupid portal walls for some genuine painted on white wall tires. So as you can see, portal walls do not last forever. They eventually crumble and rip off, and it looks so ghetto to have 3 out of 4 tires be white walled and just have the last one be some nub of white wall. I love the white wall tires. I think it sets the car off so much. The before and after is insane to me. So there is no negotiation. I'm getting white walls some way or another. But this guy offered me for 200 bucks to sand down all the lettering on my current tire and then hand paint a stripe, which I assume would be with some durable material so that it doesn't immediately just fall off anyways. And I think that would really help so that I don't have to worry about these stupid portal walls ever again. Installing them is always a pain. Finding someone willing to install them is a pain. Their quality is a pain. They're just a pain. So I think this paired with an upcoming thing on the list would make it so that I really have my dream tires. Now, another thing mechanically that's a little wrong with my car is this side of the tie rod is a little worn out. I got the outer tie rods replaced and my alignment was still pretty bad. So now it's time to work on the inner tie rods and then finally get a proper alignment so my car can drive straight again. I'm not kidding you when I tell you I have to drive my car with the steering wheel probably about how it is right now. Notice how it's crooked? That's how I need to drive it for it to go straight. So my alignment is severely messed up. And I think that the inner tie rods have a lot to do with it. Number 15 has to do with the dashboard here. So as you can see, I have the standard analog dashboard that a majority of these Sables came in. However, for probably about $200, I could get this swapped for the much rarer and much cooler digital dash. Now, I already have the digital dash, I own it, but I've been told it is going to be quite hard, if not even impossible, to swap the analog dash for a cooler digital dash. My concerns are that it's going to be really hard to have it match up with my odometer, and I worry that it might not be as accurate on the speedometer either once I get different size tires. But at the same time, I have a feeling that recalibrating a digital odometer and speedometer when I do eventually get smaller, lower profile tires would probably be easier than doing so on an analog dash. So if it is possible, I'll look around. I think it'll be about $200 from what I've been told, and we'll get that digital dash in here. That would really set off the interior. Having both the digital dash plus the glowing Glovebox light would really set the interior off. Number 14, a carbon tint. I was quoted about $220 for a full carbon tint all around the car. And for those who don't know, carbon tints look just as good as ceramic tints, but they don't really keep out the heat. I think I'd run probably 20%, and by 20% I mean whatever the Utah legal limit is for tints. But in the summer, because there's so much glass on this freaking car, it is baking in my car. Baking. So to get a tint would be nice, and carbon, it supposedly keeps out about 5% of heat, but would it be worth it to do carbon when I could wait and do ceramic? That's up for you guys to decide. It would look really good, and it's about half the price of ceramic. So if y'all just want me to have tint, then boom, vote for this one and I got tint. Back into the interior with number 13, a Starry light headliner. Now, I know that these are very expensive, but you can buy the kit themselves for around $250. But if I can find some friends that are willing to do the work for cheap, I'm willing to buy the kit today or whenever, so that in maybe a couple weeks, when I save up a little more money, I can get that Starry light headliner set in. I think that would really help with the kind of spaceship theme of the car. And really set off the interior a lot. When people sit in the car at night and they see the twinkle of the headliner, they can be like, okay, I really am in a spaceship. And that would be a really cool vibe. So that one is probably one of the cooler interior modifications I could do for my car. Next is the other thing that will pair well with the painted white wall tires, and that's a new set of tires. Lower profile tires. 205 50 R15s. So that would make it much lower profile. That would make it have a little bit of stretch. I might even go down to 195, even 185 to get some real good stretch on there. And then I could really start kind of giving off that lowrider impression. Now, this isn't meant to be a lowrider. I'm not doing hydraulics, but the build is heavily inspired by lowrider look and culture. So I think some low profile tires would really set the car off. And once I do bag the car, low profile tires are necessary. So at some point, regardless of if you guys vote for this or not, I'm going to need to save up for lower profile tires. Because when they dial in the fitment, it has to be based on the setup I have right now. So I'm not going to be able to go nearly as low on these bulky, big, black, thick, stupid tires as I will when my tires are lower profile. So it will also kind of help expedite how quickly I can finally get my car bagged. Number 11, bumper repaint. Now, if you guys have followed me for any amount of time, you know that I'm not satisfied with this paint job I got for my front bumper. Now, in terms of the bodywork, it looks a million times better than it used to. But in terms of the color, you can kind of tell this is a very obviously a silver with no color in the metal flake, whereas up here, you have a bit of a yellow, almost a golden glow in the opal frost. So I would be willing to pay another 300 bucks to just get this thing repainted. I know that's a lot of money, but man, in the right lighting, it is so obvious, it is embarrassing. I assume they kind of color matched it using those like laser scanners that tell them what the color is, but under their dark mechanic lighting, I've been in their building and it's dark and dim. This shiny baby blue is not going to appear. When this car is dark, it looks gray. Like this is exactly the color of my car in gloomy lighting, overcast lighting, and in dark lighting. However, in the sun, you realize that my car is actually a baby blue. Now let's talk about these taillights. So if you guys are Sable nerds like me, you know that from 1986 through 1988, the very first generation pre-facelift Mercury Sable had these really cool stripes. Other Mercuries had it too, the Grand Marquis had it, the Topaz had it, but for my generation, for whatever reason, they stopped doing it. And I think it looks amazing. For approximately $300, I'm pretty sure I have been quoted things in that range by decal companies to get this done. Now there's multiple ways I can go about it. I could either get like a literal decal and stick it on the outer portion of the headlights or tail lights. I prefer really if they go on the inner portion, because if you see those old Mercuries, there's no like texture, like you can't scratch the decal off because it's like embedded into the headlights. Or the other option, you could get some of that taillight tinter, that spray that tints taillights, and then just tape it off. You know, this would be more of the job of like a skilled painter rather than like a decal guy. But if he puts painter's tape exactly where he doesn't want it to be tinted and then just tints everything else, I think we could get the exact same effect, and it might look a little bit better than having these like essentially stripes of stickers on the taillights of my car. Now let's continue on with other parts that need to be repainted. The trunk. As you can see here, a baby or something psychotic just went ham on the trunk of my car. There's deep scratches that go almost to the paint. So this thing is not, you cannot buff that out. It is permanently scratched. So for about $300, I think I could get this repainted and looking factory fresh again. Number 8, for $300, I've been quoted by an exhaust shop. Probably the most dramatic change I could do to my car out of all of these 30 things is this one right here. And that would be dual chrome tipped exhausts on the rear of the car. I want some dual ones kind of sticking out a little bit with the slant cut muscle car style, you know, classic American stuff there. and get rid of this stupid, dinky, black, bullcrap, ugly, just embarrassing exhaust that I have now, as well as a muffler delete. So this guy's willing to do all the fabrication work, get the chrome pipes, and delete my muffler for $300. I cannot believe it's that cheap. I was expecting him to say $1,000. I was not expecting to even be able to put this on the list, but he quoted me all of that work for $300. I could have my car sounding way cooler, looking way cooler, and just being way more noticeable. You know, like, I don't want it to be wake up the neighbors loud. That's embarrassing. That's stupid. But I mean, having a little grumble when you accelerate makes a huge difference. It makes the car way more fun to drive. Trust me, I would know, because my Mustang sounded really good under even light acceleration. And I would love to have that feeling in the Mercury again. So this is a hugely transformative option that I think is very likely to get a lot of traction. I've heard how these engines sound with a muffler delete, and honestly, it's shockingly good. The V6 Mustangs had a similar version of my engine, 3.8 liter V6, the same engine, just kind of more high performance tuning and all that, and those sound amazing with a muffler delete. So if I could get even half of that sound, it would be awesome. People would turn their head, they'd hear it coming, and then they'd see the light bar. I just think it would really be a dramatic transformation. Now, if custom stuff isn't your thing, then we could go back to painting, where we can make things look factory fresh again. For about $350, I could get the rear bumper and this spot repainted, which would get rid of the gouges and the gashes and the scratches, and really just shine it up again. The only reason I haven't done that yet is because my PTSD from the front bumper not turning out great. But I think I'll probably go to another shop, or if I go back to that shop, I will say, bro, I'm going to be picky. Match the colors better, bro, please. So yeah, that's an option if you guys care more about the cleanness of this car than the modifications. And along that line, we have what would genuinely make my car dent free. That would be a Fender repaint and repair. So this right here is the only dent in my entire car that's bigger than, like, I don't know, a nickel. And so if we could get this straightened out and painted, I would officially have a dent-free car. Now, that is not something most people can say with a 30-year-old car. So that would be a huge flex. My only concerns would be matching this pinstripe to the rest of the car, because I really like and care about the pinstriping on my car. I think it looks really good. I think it sets off the car quite a bit. So losing that, or the risk of losing that, or having it look stupid and not matching, does make me worried about ever repairing this. But at the same time, I don't know, dude, it would be pretty freaking cool to have a straight dent-free 1994 30-year-old car with no dents. Now, yeah, there's this little dent on the hood as well, but that is not nearly as noticeable. Oh, you thought we were done with interior stuff? Nah. Number 5, a Blaupunkt SQR Bremen 350. Yeah, ever since I've bought in this car, it has had no radio. This has been the spot I stash my little trees, so that's less obvious, and because I don't have a rearview mirror. But yeah, you can see it's all here, and for about $350, which is a lot cheaper than the base price of $450, I could get a used one and then probably get it installed for what, another 50 bucks? I don't know. This would really, like, this is probably the biggest quality of life improvement. Right now I rock this pill speaker that I just throw up on my dash like so and call it a day. And it works. I mean, it's relatively loud, but it sucks when it runs out of battery. It sucks when I leave it at home, and it's just kind of trashy. So having like an actual radio, like 99% of people do in their cars, would be a massive quality of life improvement. Next is a mixture, kind of both would clean up the look and make it look factory fresh again, and also a bit of an upgrade. So once again, back to the first generation of Mercury Sables, they had a much cooler, in my opinion, skirt on the side. Mine is literally just a straight tube, like it's a straight line, not much effort at all. So for about $400, I think I could source and buy a skirt and get it repainted and installed. And I think that would just really be a small thing that would look significantly better. I'd be the only car in the world with that setup, you know, with the first generation skirt on the second generation car, and I just think it would look a lot cooler. I really like those first generation skirts. I think they line up with the flow of the splitter down here a lot better, and will just look much cooler, a little more aggressive and a little more sporty, which is weird to say out of a Mercury Sable, but it is what it is. Now for the wheel freaks out there, if you guys are too impatient for me to wait to chrome plate each wheel, we could do the next best thing, chrome powder coating. Now, I know it's not going to have a fully chrome finish. I've watched enough videos on it. I understand it's going to be more of a polished aluminum look, but it's going to look a lot better than what I've got going on now. I mean, look at that. That's kind of embarrassing how it's kind of like all, I don't know, just faded and stupid looking. Has no shine anymore at all, to the point where I've had people ask me if my wheels were white. So for about 450 bucks, we could get these powder coated and looking really nice again, which I know I wouldn't be able to afford the smaller tires right now because that would go over the $500 budget. But once I do eventually get lower profile tires, I think it would help the look a lot. Getting down to the final two. Now, we talked about the carbon tint, but for about $460, we can do a full ceramic tint. So if you guys are tint heads and you guys really just want me to do a tint and maybe one other modification, then this is what you want to vote for. Ceramic tints keep about 75 to 90% of UV radiation out of my car. That means on a hot summer day, my car is going to be almost room temperature inside. Now, obviously I'm not going to tint the front windshield, so there's still going to be heat coming through there. I might do a slight tint there, like I don't know, a 40%, a 35, and then the rest would be 20. And by those numbers, I mean the legal limit in Utah. But I think that would really, really help, both in quality of life and in looks. I mean, tints look awesome. Obviously, I mean, a tinted car that's otherwise stock is not nearly as cool as once it's built, then proceeding to tint it. But I mean, honestly, the quality of life improvement would make it worth it to me, even if it is kind of weird to have a pretty much bone stock car have like a super expensive nice tint. That's up for you guys to decide, not me. And finally, number one, the most expensive of all of the modifications is actually not a modification at all. For number one, this option is just saving the money and putting it towards getting my bags. So I'm gonna be honest, I don't make that much right now. It's a slow season at my job, so it's going to be quite hard for me to save up to that $4,000. Right now I'm at about $1,100, so getting to $1,600 would put me probably weeks closer to saving up than if I were to spend it on these other modifications. So if you guys really just want to see this thing bagged, then it might just be best to keep the rest of it unchanged and just bag it, I don't know, maybe a month sooner with that extra $500. I know this is kind of a boring one because I have all week off, so I could do any of these modifications you guys want as soon as this video's over. Maybe the waiting game is the best move, I don't know. I'm personally tempted by those exhausts, but I also want to see this thing back on its nuts. So, you know, you win some, you lose some. And with that, those are the 30 things. So you guys go write in the comments and write on my Instagram the combination of things that you want that will add up to around $500. It's okay if it goes a little over, and it's okay if it goes a little under, obviously, I'll save money. And whatever combination, not individual item, but whatever combination has the most votes will be what I do.